My name is Barbara Beckley, and I am the CEO and co-founder of the Diamond Factor LLC. My mission, my basic mission is to make sure women understand who they are, their PPD, their purpose, passion, and drive, and understand that even through the storms and the hurricanes through their lives, that they have a diamond factor in them, and that is their purpose, their passion, and their drive. Question I have for you today: why do we work so hard in trying to fit in when we were born to stand out? The uniqueness that we have in us already says so much to the world, but we just need to understand that. I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were just having a conversation, me and a friend of mine, and I was just asking them, I said, what do you think your uniqueness is? What do you have as uniqueness? And they said, Barbara, it's funny you asked me that question, because I had a conversation with somebody else a few days ago. And I think the reason why I think this question was coming up is because of what's going on in the world right now. And we have to kind of do a pause and really understand who we really are and get that in our minds again, that we are unique in our ways, that which is awesome. So when they told me, they said, well, Barbara, I was talking to somebody else about it, and I gave the analogy of the snowflake. And I was kind of looking at them, I said, okay, I'm asked about uniqueness. You're talking about a snowflake. I'll flow a little bit and see what's going on with this. So they said, yeah, I did a little history. She said, somebody told me with the snowflake, there's each snowflake that falls to the ground has a unique distinction within that little itty bitty snowflake. So think about all the snowflakes that fall. So they said, because each ice crystal has a unique path going to the ground. So it flows through different clouds, different temperatures, different levels of moisture. And then it goes down to the ground, falls on us or fall on the ground, and it has a unique distinction, each one. And I was just thinking about, I said, there are probably millions, billions of snowflakes that fall from, from that sky all the way down to us. And you're telling me that each one has a little particular different than the other one. And they said, yes, because how it travels through the different ways to the ground. And then they said, that's the same thing when you think about with each individual in their lives. Each and every person that's on this earth, we go through different, what they call the hurricanes, if you want to call them, the storms of life. Your story might be different. It might be the same, but it's always going to be different. I mean, a person could deal with troubles in their life, like say, for instance, they've been bullied. You might have been bullied differently than somebody else been bullied, but your stories are strong because guess what? If you went through, just like that little snowflake, going through the different ways, but then coming out this wonderful uniqueness about you of who you are, your purpose, as I said earlier, then that makes you stronger of what you went through. And that's why your stories are so important. And I said, that's really interesting. I'm glad you told me about the story about the snowflake, because I didn't even realize that there were different ones. And you really wouldn't realize that. And then I thought about it. I said, see, this again, as us as individuals, we need to make sure that we realize what our uniqueness is and don't make it so minute. So I said, let's look at the definition of uniqueness: the quality of being the only one of its kind. Think about it. Each and every one of you out there, you are the only one of its kind. No one's a Barbara just like Barbara Beckley. No one else. I'm it. Now, I know some people have twins, but even as a twin, you have a uniqueness than that other person has. Other thing about it, the ability to celebrate the uniqueness of each individual. We should not just be celebrating our own uniqueness and understanding and owning it, but we should be celebrating others' uniqueness. Because think about it, when a person is different than the other person, we learn and we grow from each other. And we can embark on so many things, even in business or even in your personal life. And then the other meaning of uniqueness, the quality of being particularly remarkable, special, and unusual. So I ask people, and I ask you out there, what is your uniqueness? Can you say what your uniqueness is? What is your talents? What do you have in you that brings that uniqueness out to others? So just gonna go through 3 tips for you. First, understanding what your uniqueness is, knowing yourself. Like I said, knowing your gifts, your talents, your values, and also inviting feedback from your peers, positive feedback that you can make adjustments. We always want to be open to that, but you never want to be somebody else. It's okay to make some adjustments, make some changes along the way in life, but you have to still be your own unique person. Being confident, another way of understanding your uniqueness, being confident, trusting at all times, even when you make mistakes in life, that even with the mistakes, you're leaving a part of you that you can learn and grow from those mistakes. But be confident in whatever you do. You can say, you know what, I was wrong in that situation, but I am confident that I can do better and I can learn and I can grow in this situation. Be confident about that. And love yourself. Know that you're incredible. Practice your affirmations every single day. I always tell people it is so important. Be repetitious. Repetitious is the learning for all of us. Say that I am smart. Say that I am unique in my own way. That's awesome. Say that I'm amazing. Say that I help others and I want to see other people grow in their life. So that's understanding what is your uniqueness, those steps. Then number 2, learning how your uniqueness impacts others. You need to make your life your message. And what I mean by that, everything I said earlier, your stories can leave legacies, can heal people, can help people. I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to give you an analogy of that. A few months ago, I posted under my group that I have, and I was just sharing a story about when I was struggling when I was younger, when my father passed at the age of 18. In fact, he was murdered at that time. And and my father passed. He was my rock. He was my all. He passed away. I lost it. I completely lost it because I lost my rock. I call him my diamond factor in my life, still do to this day. But I lost my father at that time. And it got to the point where I was really upset, got really angry, really sad, to the point that I kind of just went in my room after I heard the information, and I just tore up my room. I just tore it up, tore it up. And my mother at the time, because my mother and dad were separated, so that's why I was in a different location than my father when they found him. And thank God, because I was just thinking, see how things happen, is if I was living with him at the time, then I probably wouldn't be here today because of that. But when I found out, I ran into my room, shut the door, tore up everything around the house, tore up everything. My mother was like, oh my God, she is going crazy. And I literally felt like I was going crazy because I lost like I said, my rock. My mother had to wind up calling 911 to make sure to call the paramedics to get me. So they came to my house, our house, they got me, they took me to the hospital, and they kept me under a 48-hour suicide watch because they wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to do no damage to me. So with those 2 days that I was in that hospital, something happened. Something happened in my life that turned things around. Now, when I was laying in that bed in that hospital, I thought everything was done. I did not want to move forward in life. I had it in my mind. I had it in my head that I am not moving forward no matter what the circumstances is. I don't want to move forward because my dad's gone. He was the one that kept me motivated, encouraged, told me to do what I needed to do. I was almost graduating from high school at that time. And I was just going to say, I just give it all up. But that particular night, that second night, a nurse came into the room and she told me, I don't know you that well, but I know a family member passed away in your life. And I don't think that person would want you to do what you're thinking about doing. Now, I didn't talk to her or anything. I was just looking at her because I was sedated. I was kind of in and out, but I was hearing what she was saying. And she probably is in her mind, she'd been across a lot of people that went through this particular ordeal. And she was like, okay, I know they're probably thinking about maybe suicide. And she was right. I was thinking about that. But when she told me these words that I heard, I don't believe you need to do what you're going to do because you're like a diamond in the rough. You have a uniqueness, special message in you that needs to come out. And I don't think that your whoever passed away, because you know my dad or my mother, wants you to do that. When she told me that, it was like the heavens opened up because that just took a click in my head because the same word that she told me was the same words that my dad used to tell me to say, Barbara, you're just a diamond in the rough. You're going to go through some things, but you're just a diamond in the rough. You have a uniqueness about you. It's the same words. I believe that she didn't even understand that my dad was talking through her. And that's when I told myself at that time, no matter what, I am going to live on, and not just for myself, but for my dad, and leave a legacy and let all and everybody know how unique and that they have a purpose in them. Now, I said this whole story under my Facebook group. People were tagging. This is what I'm talking about, leaving it, your uniqueness, creates an impact for others. So they shared it out. So they shared it out to a friend, and a friend shared it out, and then so on and so on. So it was, you know how sometimes when people share out things on Facebook, you might not even know who the last person that got shared to. I was just happy because in my mind, I'm just thinking, hopefully this story creates an impact and helps somebody out there. So 2 days later, I received a message in my Facebook telling me, a private message saying, Barbara, you don't know me, but I received a share from what you talked about 2 days ago on your group about you wanting to commit suicide and you stopped yourself. That same time I got that message, Barbara, I was wanting to do the same thing in my life. And when I seen that message pop up on my phone and listened to your story, I told myself, no, I don't need to do this. I don't need to give my life up. That's what I'm talking about your uniqueness, your stories. Your stories create messages. If I didn't post that message, if I didn't open up my heart to say, I'm going to put it out there and have other people share, didn't know, like I said, I didn't know where they were sharing it, and it hit the right person. You don't know how many people. Your message saves lives. Make your life your message. Make sure that you do everything how you show up in life, how you act, what you say, what you do. It reflects who you are, your character. Be consistent because people are looking for that hope, especially in today's life. So I took it upon myself to say, wow, I don't mind telling my stories. I need to make sure that, whatever's going on in my life, and we all have our stories, and they're so important. They're stepping stones of strength. They could be horror stories. I mean, traumatic stories, like my dad when he passed away. He didn't just pass away from a sickness. Like I said, he passed away from murder. And then me wanting to give my life up because of that. But I said no, because I needed to leave. There was a purpose for me. There was a uniqueness that needed to be out there. About the snowflake I told. And the third thing, steps to continue to use your uniqueness, to anchor you in your life. Practice listening to your heart and to other people's hearts around you. Don't make everything about you all the time. Build a relationship with others. Let them be the center of the attraction. Listen to what they have to say. Engage with them. Assist them in what their needs might be. Let them know that you're there for them. And use your uniqueness to help them, because it builds all over. And then develop and grow yourself. Never be reluctant in learning something new. Every day we can learn something new in every situation in life, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as I call it. You learn so much through life. The mistakes that I have made in my life, and I've made a lot, and I know we probably all have. But within all those mistakes, like I said earlier, keep confident in you and knowing that you are just taking those steps of growth so you can understand who you are even more so. Because guess what? When you learn, you can teach others, or they can see that, hey, Barbara don't have a problem making, a mistake here or there, because she's learning and growing from it. And then I move forward. Don't let it stop you from moving ahead, but move forward and say, hey, I didn't get it right that first time, but I'm going to do it again. You're developing, you're growing. I don't care how old you get in this life, you will always be developing in your life over and over again. So as I stated, you have the tools in you. You have your talents, you have your gifts that you have yourself and your uniqueness of you to stand strong and to be creative in this life. And remember, it's not so much about, it's about you at the beginning, because you're building yourself up and you're learning who you are. But eventually, once you do that and you stand strong in that and know that your uniqueness is special and amazing and wonderful in this life, then you can do what I said in the second step of creating an impact in other people's lives. Because right now, we need each and every one of us to create an impact. Each and every one of us. Anything you say in this life, remember what comes out of your mouth, what you learn, what you're grown in, is an impact for others. Position yourself, position your uniqueness. Go back to the definition I mentioned, the quality of being the only one of its kind. You're one of a kind. So as I say, shine bright. As I say under the Diamond Factor, shine bright. Shine your PPD, your purpose, passion, and drive, because it's so important in this life for others. And remember, we're even more than a snowflake. So if you think back at the snowflake story that I mentioned, and all these little snowflakes are different, we're just talking about a snowflake. How much difference and how much bigger of an impact that you can make than those snowflakes.